Hello and welcome to This Woman's Work, a space where you can hear and read about some amazing women, the fantastic jobs they do and the paths that have led them to where they are today. I'm here today with Lyndsay. Hi Lyndsay.
Hello.
Could you tell the listener what it is you do for a living?
I'm a professional photographer.
Fantastic. And how long have you been doing that for?
Ooh. Well, I think, how old am I now? 42. So I started my own since I was about 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
About 26 years
pretty
now.
good amount of time then.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go into that though, I always track back first. Okay. So we're going to go Lyndsay, school, college. What were you like? What were you into?
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning.
It starts to be. So, school, I loved school. I'm dyslexic.
Right.
So it's pretty much one of the reasons why I came down this route, really. And I got put into a group with some of my friends for an English project, which was a newspaper project. And one of my friends, so she is really bright. So she was kind of a scholar. She's now a lawyer down in London. She got the scholarship to Oakham following our school. Really bright girl. She turned around to me and she went, well, you can't read and write. You can be the photographer. So she handed me the camera for the newspaper project and I was the photographer. And we went off, we did the project, took loads of photos. Of course, we're talking film back then as well.
Yeah.
Went and got the film developed and they came out black. I was like, oh, okay, I better learn how to use this camera.
But was this a test thing? Or
we were just messing around at school doing the project. So I then had to learn how to use this camera for this project.
Yeah.
So as you do, no internet again back then, wandered off to the library after school, went to Oakham Library, and I just remember coming with this big pile of photography books, walking up Mill Street and walking past the photography studio. And there's a gentleman in there called Jim Harrison, who was the only photographer in Oakham at the time. He had this little studio on Mill Street. And I sort of popped my head through the door and so I said, oh, hello, my name's Lyndsay and I've, got these black photos and all these books. Can you help me?
And how old are you at this?
14, yeah.
Wow.
And he said, right, well, if you want to come back with one of your parents and they're happy for me to spend some time with you, then, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, and he said, then I can go through a few things with you. So wandered off home, came back with my mum. And then from then on, I assisted him. So I was then his assistant from every weekend. I used to go out and do weddings and
oh my gosh,
all sorts of bits. And anything he did as a local photographer, I used to go off and do in all my spare time, basically. I was already waitressing as well and doing bits and pieces. So I used to kind of do it around that. And then he gave me my first wedding to shoot on my own at 16, which my mum had to drive me. Got £50. But so I did my first wedding on my own at 16. And then as soon as I could drive at 17, I was off doing them on my own, really. Yeah, so...
And how were you confident at this age then? I mean, you were quite confident to walk into his studio.
Yeah, I've always been quite confident, yeah. But I think as well, I waitress from the age of 12 and you're just public-facing, talking to people. Yeah. I started doing afternoon teas at the Whipper Inn Hotel. Oh. And, it just, I think that really helped as well. Yeah. And then, of course, when I used to go off and do weddings, I used to literally be a second shooter for him and organise groups in the background for him ready to come and shoot. So you just straight away...
You watched and learnt.
Yeah. And then, like I say, so I went off then, finished my GCSEs, did all right. Yeah. Considering I'm dyslexic, I did okay.
Yeah.
Went to do my A-levels. That I struggled with. Did my A-levels. I got the university of my choice because of how outstanding the photography side was. Now, bearing in mind, I'm not just a 18-year-old with a A-level. I'm an 18-year-old that's been doing photography since age 14 with an amazing portfolio, loads of experience. So
you really stood out then.
Yeah, really did. So then I went off to do my degree, worked in photography. Well, it was photography and digital imaging.
And where did you do that?
At Sunderland. They condensed it. It's pretty much a 3-day course.
Right.
They made it so that everything was on a Monday, Tuesday, sort of 3/4 of the day Wednesday, so I could go home Wednesday night and work Friday, Saturdays. you know.
And to earn money.
Yeah, so I paid my student loan off before I finished uni.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
So you left uni with no debt, pretty much.
Yeah, no debt.
And actually,
again, I
in the
did
black.
first class BA honours, yes, which I'm so proud of, because a big chunk of that was a dissertation, and again, sort of struggling with things like that. So what we did have the option to do was pick up, we could pick up another, we had to pick up another credits from somewhere and pick another course. And I was really good at art. I got an A at art, so I thought, I might go and do illustration. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent a little bit here, but I went and sat down and sat in this classroom, and the teacher said, right, I'd like you to draw a pelican.
From memory?
Exactly. So I think my A in art at GCSE level was copying something. So I could look at a picture and draw it and sketch it.
Yeah.
This is like, literally, it could have been a 3-year-old that drew it. The teacher came over to me. I
oh my God, have you got a picture of this?
No.
Oh,
I must have been in the classroom 3 minutes, and the teacher came in. I always remember she just put her hand on my shoulder and went, Lyndsay, I'm going to tell you now, this course isn't for you. One drawing, she knew straight away. And I went, no, I don't think so either. So then I remember just going, what do I do? So I went, right, I'm going to go and do TV studios, just because I thought, you know, they've got that facility. It's not quite video, but they had like a TV studio module. I thought I might quite enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I went and did that instead of, you know, and I really enjoyed it. And it just so happens that when I left university, I had, a friend for friends, so said, I'll see if there's any jobs going at... She was head of buying for a local shopping TV channel in Peterborough.
Right.
And she says, I'll see if my mum's neighbour, as you do, Sue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she says, my daughter's head of buying, we'll see if there's anything there. And they were looking for a photographer. But because I had done the TV studio module, they loved that, because I completely understand the environment and the roles within the TV industry.
Yeah.
And that was brilliant. So, yeah, got a job there, and... started off on a sort of shift pattern with another photographer, and we were on opposite shifts doing 12-hour shifts, so it meant that the 12...
Of course, it's 24 hours a day.
Yeah. So they had at that point just 2 shopping channels, Ideal World and Create and Craft.
Right.
And they had me doing so it was 12-hour shifts, but a 7-day fortnight, so you'd work 7 days out of a fortnight.
Right. Okay.
Which also gave me 7 days off.
Yeah.
To freelance. And then they decided to launch the websites, e-commerce sites, and they grew very quickly because they had bought a jewellery channel, a gardening channel, and then they decided that they were going to launch the websites to support the TV, which meant that instead of photographing just everything for one craft show a day, we needed to photograph every product.
In multiple different ways.
For every channel, every channel, and there was 2 of us. So basically, it's like, right, we need to grow. We need a whole department of people. We need a bigger studio. We need a team. So we need a manager. But I think the company could see that I was young and eager and raring to go and really just wanting to actually make change. And they gave me a chance at sort of 23, became a manager.
Wow.
I blagged it. I'm not going to lie. It gave me so much experience. I did food photography there, doing absolutely everything. You name it, we shot it, you know. So it gave me good experience in terms of what I was photographing. But the more managerial side, like the bigger my team got, the more stuff was just like implementing processes. How do we get the samples? How do we make that
costs,
quicker? You know, actually, there must be a report that can do that to save that person 4 hours a day. So it's all them kind of things about looking at how a department could... grow without investing more money into it and things like that. So looking at structure and process and, and it's brilliant. And of course, working with buyers, e-commerce teams. I learn a lot about e-commerce and websites now and, how best to display
and
images.
I'm guessing this was all digital then?
Yes, all digital.
Yeah, so thank goodness you'd self-taught.
100%, thank goodness. Yeah. So no, absolutely brilliant. And when... I got to the point where I had the children, and Jess was just about to start school, my eldest, who's now, she turned 15 this week. So yeah, when she, I just thought, I think I might go on my own. I think I was on maternity leave with Charlotte, my second.
It always makes you quite reflective, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, as well. I was just sort of sat there going, 2-year-old Duncan was doing his degree and working full time. Why not set up your own business on maternity leave? So I was like, why not? So we, got my studio up and running during my maternity leave.
Yeah.
Went back to Ideal World part-time for a little bit while I built that up.
Yeah.
And then, left there after 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was ready to go.
You've done a good stint then.
Yeah, I was definitely ready to go.
Yeah.
So I set up the studio in Stamford.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Just took off really quickly.
Yeah.
I did, just for marketing, I did a lot of Facebook. I did a lot of, I did the Face of Stamford competition, that was actually a really good marketing competition.
Because it really put your name out there.
As well, I saw those people queuing in Morrison's for this company, and the pictures were
Yes.
awful, and the prices they were charging were just disgusting. And I was like, I can do that.
But way better.
Way better for half the price for people, which is what I
Yeah.
did. So I got lots of local businesses involved in that as well. So it became like a Stamford competition, and lots of local businesses would sponsor the prizes, and we'd get front page for the Stamford Living. They supported it, and really great. And I think as well, it's nice working with other people again, because obviously I'm all on my own in the studio. So that was quite nice to kind of, have people involved in something like that. And then, so for the last sort of 10 years, I've been doing that on my own. And not just studio work.
Yeah.
I obviously do a lot of corporate stuff.
Yeah.
And go into companies.
Yeah.
And do annual port photography, product photography, headshots, just general marketing stuff for them. Yeah, and then for the schools, obviously the last few years, I never thought I'd be a school photographer. In fact, I did not want to be a school photographer. And there was a friend of mine who was at local prep school, and she said the photography is awful, and the parents are all moaning, and your name came up in a PTA meeting, and would you? And I was like, no, I'm not interested. So I went over and had this chat to this lovely lady, Wendy, and she went, just come to the school, have a look and see what you think, and let's have a look at it. So I went to the school, absolutely fell in love with it. Started being a school photographer. It's now cost me a fortune because I sent both the kids there. I was like, oh my God, I love it. Both my children have to come here. Amazing lady Wendy was. And you couldn't say no to Wendy. Sadly, Wendy has passed away now. Just the most amazing lady. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. But if I'm going to do it, let me do it with a different approach. Like, I'm not going to go in and be crap. Yeah. Because my
standard,
and my brand as well. Do you know what I mean?
Tinted background.
So it's really tricky breaking into the schools, because I would happily spend a week there to produce the most stunning pictures, but they do not have the time. So you only get seconds with each child.
Yeah.
Really intense. Really intense. And then you've just got to kind of do the work while it's there, but everybody wants you at the same time with this term. So it's really tricky. I kind of get it a bit towards the end of summer term as well, where you get the sports days and the proms and award ceremonies, and my wedding season starts then as well. So that sort of gets really busy. That's sort of May, June, July time. And then the other months sort of just a lot steadier. So really that's sort of what I do and where I've come from, and done a lot of consultancy work, going into companies, setting up photography departments within their company, recruiting for them, training for them, and things like that as well.
Setting up
for them, like, the last one was a furniture company in Grantham, and they were spending £2,000 like a month for like 2 sofas to be photographed. And they used to ship them over to the studio, and it was a lot of money. A lot of money. And actually, what they did was I came in and set up a studio for them. And initially they wanted some of their in-house sort of marketing team who've got a bit of photography background and stuff to do it. But they also realised then that it is bigger than that, it's more than that. So they wanted to recruit photographers. So then I did the recruitment for them, and sort of, some basic training just to get them up and running. And so things like that I can do as well. But when you do recruit, what you get is Joe Bloggs with his camera. I can take a photo. That absolutely thinks he can smash it. And then you'll get somebody who's got a degree, who just with no experience, and
so you're getting it all then. What do you think, if you were to pinpoint 1 or 2 things that make you particularly good at what you do, what do you think it would be?
Oh, obviously I can take a picture.
Got a good eye.
Yeah, obviously you've got to be a good photographer. So you've got to be able to take a nice photo that's perfectly composed, exposed, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of technical stuff that comes into it, and having to work fast and know what you're doing, very quickly. I have to say, I'm confident doing that, but every now and again, some days you just go, oh, are you actually kidding me? And I don't know how some photographers would manage that, because I know they technically would not know how to like that.
Yeah.
So I would say, look at the whole day, evening shots. What are the evening do shots like? Can you use flash? The amount of photographers that I've had come to me going, oh, can you help me? They're all blurred because my shutter speed went too slow, and
I'm
like,
gosh.
hang on, these are basic
You've
things.
said this to me before. You get quite a lot of photographers coming to you for help, don't you?
Anyone can go outside and press auto on a camera and take a picture.
Yeah.
But also, even outside, like, you've got a beautiful sunset there. How do you expose to get that sunset and the bride and groom be lit up? You've got to work really fast to know what you're doing with on-camera flash when it's a bright day, a sunny day, So there's the technical side. I think you've got to be very good at organising people. I'm slightly assertive.
You've got to be a people person.
Definitely be a people person. I think the thing is when everything's different. So you think, I'm photographing children, I've got to know how to talk to a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old and get them to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And then you might get a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got to then try and get them to smile, and they really don't want to smile.
Yeah.
So you've got to get the best out of them. And then you'll have somebody who...
Or nowadays, they'll be like, can I see it? Can I see it?
Well, this is a huge problem.
I want to have another one done. I want another one done.
The proms have been really quite upsetting.
Oh, gosh.
The girls, particularly, they just do not want their pictures taken.
Yeah.
These stunning girls.
And they want to see them, and they want to just double check.
I think what they don't want is a picture to be put out there that they've not had full control over.
Yeah.
They want to see it first. They don't want to be put in a public gallery where their friends could see it as well, and things like that. And they
can't filter it. They can't Photoshop, because that age group can do basic Photoshopping on a phone now, can't they?
So it's really quite sad. Really sad.
I know you have a little life in you yet. I know you have a lot of strength left. I know you have a little life in you yet. I know
It's trying to get people to feel comfortable on a family shoot or a profile shoot. It's organising hundreds of people at a wedding to get them all to do what you want them to do. Again, sometimes quite quickly without sounding too bossy, and making it fun as well. And so you've got to be a people person. You've got to make sure you can sort of get the best out of people, really, and often quite quickly. So I like to say I'm assertive. In fact, I have a really good quote from a bride this year that said, I'm the friendliest boss bitch she's ever met. She said, you managed to boss everyone around and get everybody to do what we needed them to do, but yet they didn't even know you were doing it. You were so friendly. And
what personal challenges do you have that make you struggle with this? And I'm actually going to say one for you. Your level of effort is so high that, like, you don't earn the money for the hours you put in. Because in comparison, your pro rata rate, you go so above and beyond because you can't not.
Yeah.
But your dog's agreeing with me.
Yeah, my dog in the background says so demanding first.
Which
I am a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And I think that say, if I go to a school, I don't want one parent to be unhappy with their school photo, not one. Yet that's impossible 9 times out. But I want to I don't take criticism very well. I don't like criticism.
But that's probably because you're putting so much effort into getting it right. You've then gone, I've done everything I can possibly do to get that there. And it's still not good enough. It must be hard.
It's still not okay. Yeah, no, I think personal challenges are definitely. I do put in too many hours for the return. I am a perfectionist. I can't let standards slip anywhere.
No.
Which isn't always a good thing when you've got deadlines. I'd happily stay up till 3-4 o'clock in the morning and get it right.
You regularly don't sleep very much, do you?
And sometimes I'm busy and I have to just keep going. But I think, what again, like being self-employed, you've got it swings and roundabouts. So yes, like I have not had any time with the kids really up until, well, I say that the only time I haven't been working is to go and watch them do sports and things like that. I'd never miss out on things like that. But we've not been on a Sunday afternoon walk or, you know, things like that.
Or
But
even at evenings.
But equally, on the flip of that, they've got me now all Christmas when I'm at home.
Brilliant.
So it is swings and roundabouts, you know, and I work hard, play hard. I'm still very, very sociable. So I still make sure I've always got time for my friends, and I still make sure I go out and have a few drinks here and there. And, but I think I've got a very sociable job anyway, which is quite nice because I'm always at events and doing what have you. I don't have a lot of me time. That's my biggest thing. I have no time for me.
Right.
None. Cool. So I have hypermobility syndrome, which means that everything's super bendy. And yeah, it's taken its toll on me holding the camera for so many years. You think 25 years I've been doing this now. So what I get is I come back from a wedding and I feel like I've run a marathon. I'm literally in pain from top to bottom. My back hurts. Or the back of where I'm holding the camera. You imagine I'm holding the camera for so many hours,
you've given
and they
me
are
your camera
heavy.
to hold. They are really heavy.
So I have like tension headache constantly. Like even now, I've got a headache that comes from through my head, down my neck, across my shoulders, into my elbow, into my wrist. So I've got huge problems with. I suppose it's a bit like a repetitive strain. That and then editing for hours with the same hand as well. I just feel like I need to use my left hand for editing and start learning to do that. But yeah, you know, sitting at the computer for hours. Like the last few weeks, you think I have to take a studio, set that up, the big heavy equipment, you're carrying it in and out the car, you're setting it up, then you're stood all day leaning over, sorting ties for children, bending over because you're taking pictures of them and they're lower than you.
Up, down,
my knees are shot, absolute shot. I have knee pads that I wear. I look like Action Girl. I've got knee pads and wrist support. I've got my cameras harnessed off me. I look like I'm ready for like war zone. But yeah, it's definitely taken its toll on me physically. To the point where I don't know how long I'll be able to hold a camera for, you know. Am I going to be able to do this till I retire? Probably not. I don't know how many years I've got left in my hand. Lucky enough, Duncan, my husband, is an acupuncturist, so without him giving me regular treatments and fixing my back when I'm in pain, that and a glass of wine when I get home seems to help a lot.
You probably would have had to stop already, wouldn't you, if it wasn't for that?
So no, physically I really noticed that, you know, it's things like that people don't ever think, gosh, you know, your knees are going to go as a photographer. Well, I've spent years on my knees photographing children.
What has been the best part of your career so far? Either standout moments or just things that you've enjoyed doing?
I think I've just been very lucky that I can do a job I love. You know, I can't, there's no I mean, you know, I can't say, oh, that was standout, that was amazing. You know, I've had so many great experiences doing this job, been in lots of amazing places, met so many wonderful people. You know, I'm just really lucky that I've managed to do a job that I love and enjoy.
What's the worst or the least enjoyable part of your job? And is it really just the physicality?
Do you know, I have to say, the bit for me, you shoot, and then you edit. But there's a bit in the middle of that, of sorting through the thousands of pictures you've taken. I hate that bit. I absolutely hate the culling bit. So I'll do a wedding. And you've got thousands of pictures, and then you have to go through and go, yes, no, well, that's a bit similar to that one, but that's a little bit different. Or is that in focus? Have I got the eye focus in that one? Or that's a really good group shot, but she's blinking. I need to find the head of that person to put on that one, so keep that one in for now. No. So that process of going through your photos, I hate. It's just, painful. And then once I've done that and I sit and edit, that's fine. But it's just getting from that bit to that bit, and the culling can take days, like for the schools, just sorting through the photos, just that bit in itself is just, and there's no joy there. No joy in that bit. I hate that bit. I don't like doing my accounts. I'm about to see my accountant this afternoon. I'm a very bad girl. They're very late, and he's been very patient with me. Not great at doing that bit. I think I'm always so busy that's the bit that it sort of comes to the end of the year when I'm like, oh crap, I've got all these accounts.
I was going to say, because you're organised, you're good at admin in that kind of way.
Yeah, I'm really good at admin in every part of me, apart from my accounts. Not great with that. I'm not very good at marketing either. I'm too busy, but I don't market myself at all. It sounds awful. I don't need to. It's all word of mouth, so I get all my work through word of mouth. so I'm not very good. I'll sort of share something if someone posts. I keep saying I need to post some of your pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't.
What's the strangest thing that's ever happened to you? Other than people giving you fake other people's photos for job interviews.
Yeah.
You will have seen some weird stuff. Don't name names.
No. Yeah.
And aside of just snotty kids and stuff.
Yeah, so there's the snotty kids and all that lot. There's a few stories I probably couldn't tell you as well through things that I've seen with different organisations. But I think the weirdest one very early on that made me sort of is when I first set up the studio. Like I said, a family came to me for some shots, and they came back without the children to look at the pictures, the mum and dad.
Yeah.
And then they'd asked about me doing some boudoir shots.
Yes. Okay.
She really liked me, felt very comfortable with me.
Yeah.
And asked if I would do some sort of boudoir shots. So I said, well, yeah, I can give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Just opened up the studio, you know.
Yeah.
So she came one evening, and she brought this suitcase. You know, the ones that like a cabin case.
Yeah. Wheelie one.
I went back, brought up the other cabin case, and I'm thinking, gosh, she's got a lot of stuff. Opened the first case, and it was full of underwear, like the most sexy underwear. Like, I'm like, Duncan's lucky if I've got one sexy outfit upstairs that he's not seen for about 10 years. Yeah, everything was in there, you know.
Wow.
And then she opened up the other case, and it was full of sex toys. And
right.
I was like, okay, so what kind of shoot do you think this is? Like,
yeah.
Not happening at all. So I then sort of quickly googled boudoir and showed her what boudoir is, and it's really artistically pictures of women, very sexy pictures, but for me,
and,
again, this is not like some smutty. Like what
she'd come to do a porn shoot is what you're
pretty. It's going to be pretty gritty, yeah. It's like, so I think I'd say fetish.
Fetish, right?
Fetish is probably the professional.
Lyndsay, you could have gone down a whole other genre.
I couldn't be baby photographer by day and then like fetish photographer at night. Just
why not?
You know, I could have actually.
Like parents at night, kids in the day.
That was one chap. I think he must have been to the studio before. Asked if he could book a shoot. But he wanted to watch through the door in the corridor outside the studio, keep the door open and watch the shoot through the door.
Right.
Almost as if he was going to like enjoy the shoot as a process.
As a voyeur. Mm. So was it his wife in there?
Yes, his wife was going to be
the boudoir,
coming in, and I'd be photographing his wife and doing the boudoir shoot, and he'd be watching through the door.
And doing other stuff, probably. So
I'll just give you a box of tissues while you're there, shall I?
Oh, Lynn,
do you know what I mean?
Lynn.
So that's probably been the strangest request. I've been around that kind of seedier genre. So I just kind of avoid that. I tend to, if it's somebody I know, then I'm happy to do it. We have such a giggle.
Yeah.
But they're really classy and arty, and the female form is stunning. And no matter what size you are, I can get stunning photos of women. Oh. It's all about lighting and making sure they get the right angles. And it's really what I would want to do is do it for the women so that they feel confident. And mostly it is like the men are quite.
But those examples are, like you say, the men are leading that a little bit, and it's gone a bit weird.
Yeah. So I tend to kind of avoid that as a genre, really.
Fair enough. What's next?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think so at the moment I haven't got a studio.
Yeah.
And I'm in between studios, so I'm quite looking forward to getting that back up and running in the future.
Yeah.
When I get my next property. I do enjoy the schools. I enjoy it all. Like, it's really hard to know. I suppose it depends physically on my hands.
Yeah.
How long I can keep going.
Because I was going to say that, because you were obviously touching on videography and stuff, and you might like to do that. You might reference that earlier. However, video cameras are then even heavier, aren't they?
They really are. You know, again, you could kind of go down the editing route, I suppose, but I'd have to sort of start from the beginning with that. I definitely got the skills.
Yeah.
That I need to do editing. You can't really retouching. You can get retouching jobs and bits and pieces, but a lot of that just gets sent out to India. You can get it really cheap. So when I go to a company and advise them, how to set up a photography department quite cheaply, a lot of the time it is just to outsource your editing. and things have just got a lot easier with AI and things like that anyway. It's a funny old industry. I think I've definitely had the best years of it.
Yeah.
Definitely got the best years of it. And I think there's still work there. But I think what you'll find is you'll have to be either somebody like me who is really experienced and really confident to go in and get a job done for big companies and what have you. Or what you'll find is a lot of them just doing it themselves, you know, and just having a bit more of an amateur
click and
look
go, yeah.
You know,
filters, yeah. My 2 final questions then are always, what advice would you give your younger self, assuming she needed any advice? So it could be that 14-year-old, it could be you at uni, it could be at any point, but... Do you think she needed any advice?
Do you know, I think I'm really, really lucky that I found what I wanted to do from a young age. I kind of feel like I smashed it a bit at that age. You know, without knowing at the time. Like, my advice to another 14-year-old right now, and because I've recruited a lot as well, is just to, you know, you've got to make things happen for you.
Yeah.
You know, you absolutely have to make that happen.
So my last question then, which you sort of started to talk about, would be what life advice would you just throw out there into the world for anyone now? It could be any age.
I think when people ask me about photography specifically, I say have more strings to your bow. You know, do not just focus on one career path. And I think that's going to be...
Do you mean one genre?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, go and do media where you can do your video, your editing. You know, like I look at roles that people want now. They don't just want photographer, they want photographer, videographer, someone that can do copy, content, social media. So it's keeping really broad. And I think you have to stand out. You have to do more than just basic. And for me, I think the one reason that I've been so successful in terms of not having to market myself is, yes, my pictures are good, but I'm a people person, a natural networker.
Yeah.
I think the best skill you can teach your children is how to hold a conversation.
Yeah.
Is how to confidently talk to someone.
Yeah. Great advice.
Yeah, thank you.
And on that note, I'll say thank you very much, Lyndsay.
Thank you very much.
If you would like to hear more about this chat, see some behind the scenes pics and some personal profile pics, plus read about how to get started in this industry and or this role, then please go and support us on Patreon. The link is on this podcast page and across all of our socials. Sincere thanks in advance.